The Batfoot Podcast is starting in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Batfoot Podcast. Damian, David, and Matt here today. We're going to do our first standings review of the year. This has been a staple on our show since we basically started. We're going to start it here in May. I don't know why we didn't do it before, but hey, here we are. And then we got a lot more news to talk about. The Braves lost a couple of their legends this week. We've had a lot of string of call-ups this week for randomly of big name players, and then we had an interesting trade happen. But before we get to all that, David, how are we doing this week?
Not too bad. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers listening to the episode tonight, and any that have mothers. Hopefully, you guys had a good weekend. I was able to talk to my mom, though she's a little bit far away, and hang out with girlfriend's mom yesterday, so it was good. How was your weekend, Matt?
Well, I'm so excited to be here that I just about broke my chair. That's what I was. If you're on YouTube and you saw me look around, I was trying to figure out how to put my armrest back up. But yeah, it's been good. It's good Mother's Day. Spent it with both of my grandmothers are still luckily still with us. So I was able to go visit them a lot on Sunday and visit my mother, and that was great. And it's been a long week. I was out last week. I actually went to South Florida, and I did go to a Marlins game. So it was not the most fun game because it was 6-0 in the first inning, but it was a really cool experience. Marlins Park is pretty nice. It's not the easiest park to get to down there. It's not in the best area of town, but it's a really nice ballpark once you get in. It's a lot of fun. Everything's been great. So, Damian, how has your week been?
It's terrible. I don't even want to talk to you about my week. All right, Matt. I don't want to talk to you at all.
Yeah, I'll bring it up in a little while.
Yeah,
we're gonna let it simmer a little bit before we get started with that.
Yeah, but no, it was good. The heat's starting to kick up out here, so that's not fun. It's been a little draining, but other than that, I mean, can't complain. We're here. Baseball's on. We're ready to do this. So let's start with the standings review. And the way we're going to do this is a little different than we've done in previous years. We've talked a lot about random teams a lot this year. We've talked a lot about the Yankees. We've talked a lot about the Red Sox. So we're going to hit these divisions kind of in more specific manners. So AL East so far, the Rays are leading at 26-13. Yankees are 1 game back. Blue Jays are 8.5 back. Baltimore's 9 back. Red Sox are 9.5 back. So looking at this division, David, all three of us here on this show in the preseason predictions picked the Rays to finish last in the division. Why do we do this to ourselves every year?
Dude, I don't know. It's one of those where I doubted the Rays again, and I always tell myself, maybe I shouldn't doubt the Rays this year. Yeah. But the pitching before the season just wasn't intriguing enough. I wasn't sure they would be able to pull the good pitchers out. And then you look at the starters, right? I mean, Nick Martinez is absolutely going crazy, right? I mean, McClanahan's been able to stay healthy so far. Drew Rasmussen's been Drew Rasmussen. I just, it's been good enough, even with Ryan Pepio getting hurt, right? And the trade of Shane Baz, like a lot of the moves they made before the season hasn't really panned out. It wasn't a team that looked like they were like buying, right? They could have very much stood pat with the team they have, but the team they have is a decent team, right? And you're getting contributions up and down the lineup from some of those role players around Yandy, Junior Caminero, right? The big hitters in the middle. So, it's a decent team. I don't think, I would expect them to keep up this, 750 winning percentage type stuff, but it's a good group. They're almost certainly, the type of team that'll, they pull out these playoff runs once every couple seasons. This feels like one of those seasons where just doing everything right so far through 40 games. And I think the pitching is what's going to be the Achilles heel or the galvanizer that takes them to the playoffs, right? I mean, this is a group. You got what's this guy's name? It's Brian Baker is closing games for him right now, right? He looks great. Typical Rays fashion. They pulled a closer out of nowhere. Pete Fairbanks was the last one. They do it every year, every single time. So how long does this guy flash in the pan? How long does this guy stick around in that role, right? And can they, keep getting these good outings from these relievers who are a lot of nobodies? Hunter Biggie was in the Christopher Morel trade a few years ago. Eric Clevenger's been good for a few years, but this is just not a high name, high octane roster. How to contend with the Yankees, who are a high octane roster, top to bottom, going forward. But I mean, they're in a spot where they're one of the only teams in the American League that are playing good.
Yeah, it's interesting that you highlighted both Baker and Nick Martinez, because I saw a tweet today from Lance Brostowski, who, if you guys don't know his stuff, go check him out. Extremely smart, very good with all his pitching stuff. The Rays' changeup usage this year is number one in baseball at over 13%.
Wow.
Brian Baker and Nick Martinez both have about doubled their right-on-right changeups. Mm-hmm. So against right-handed hitters, throwing the changeup more as a right-handed pitcher this year. So that's obviously something that's working very well for that organization to doing that. So let's jump to the American League Central now. The Guardians are 21-21, 500 dead on. The White Sox are 1 game back. Tigers are 1.5 back. Royals are 1.5 back. And then the Twins are 2.5 back. So, Matt, we've talked about the Tigers a little bit. We've talked about the Guardians here and there. We'll talk about them here in a little bit in another acquisition they made. What I want to highlight is the Chicago White Sox. They are 2 games under 500 right now, but only a game back in the division. Do we trust that the White Sox have a chance to win this division?
I'm going to say no. I just don't think their pitching is at that level. Their lineup's got some good stories in it. I mean, Munetaka Murakami has been more than ever advertised so far. There's some glaring red flags in his profile right now with a 35% strikeout rate that scare you. But, Joey Gallo at his peak was a 3 to 4 win player, and that's what Munetaka Murakami's been so far this year, is a 3 to 4 win player who hits a ton of home runs, but also strikes out an absolute ton. So I think he's good. I don't know if he's a guy that can just carry your team unless he cuts down on those strikeouts some, but he's really good. Miguel Vargas has been awesome. He doesn't get talked about very much. He's got a 16% walk rate. That's kind of always been his major skill, but he's got a 135 WRC plus, 1.4 WAR. Colson Montgomery has been one of the more underappreciated prospects / called up and did pretty well in the big leagues as a rookie / nobody's talked about him, but he's a good player. So you got 3 really good players in the middle of that lineup. The depth just isn't here yet. There's some guys that are coming. There's some guys in AAA. There's guys in AA that look pretty good. Braden Montgomery is in AA right now. That's a guy I highlighted before the season as somebody who could end up being really good. The pitching has some form of a chance in the starting rotation when you consider some of the young guys. Noah Schultz recently got called up. He didn't start the season with the big league club, but he's coming up. I just don't know if – I just don't trust that this team is going to be real competitive. The only way that they kind of keep this up the rest of the year is if the rest of the division really just continues to struggle. And I don't anticipate that the Tigers are going to continue to struggle the way they have, even without Skubal for a little while. I think they're going to turn it around. The Royals have got off to a horrible start, and they've been pretty good since that horrible start. I feel like they're better than the White Sox. I think the White Sox are definitely about as but probably better than the Twins, and they're probably on the same playing field really as the Guardians. But the Guardians always seem to figure it out too. So I don't fully trust them, but I think they're a good team, and they're showing a lot of signs for the future. That's for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned Murakami. I wanted to highlight this. I said it in the chat. It was last Monday after our show, but he had homered to tie Aaron Judge at the time for 14 homers. He had 14 singles, 14 homers, 28 walks, and 28 RBIs at that point. And then he doubled later in the game to become the last qualified player to double. That was all his stat line. It was 14 singles, 14 homers, 28 RBIs, 28 walks. That was it. And then he finally doubled there. So just interesting the way he's transitioned over so far. All right. Looking at the American League West now, the Athletics 21-19, the Rangers 2 games back, the Mariners 2.5 back, the Astros 5.5 back, and the Angels 5.5 back. David, we've talked a lot about the Astros. Was the end of it? So I don't want to kind of go talking about them here. I want to highlight the A's, the Oakland, Sacramento, Las Vegas Athletics, whatever you want to call them here. They are 21-19. They have a -6 run differential at the time. Like, do we trust this pitching to be able to give them a chance to win this division, basically?
No, but like at this point, right? Matt mentioned it. Do we trust the White Sox to win the division? I think the other teams are more talented, but we are going to go through this list of injuries later. It is so extensive.
Yeah.
Everybody is hurt. And at this point, what I'm thinking is who stays the most healthy, right? Is them soft tossers that just go out there and throw every fifth day, the rubber arm guys. Who's leading this rotation right now is free agent Aaron Savale, who is 100% a rubber arm. Go out there and throw every fifth day, no matter what. He's going to be healthy. That guy is not going to hurt himself, right? So this team is super fun. I had him. I was debating whether I wanted to put him in the playoffs in our prediction episode. I don't think I did, but I might have. I've been on this team for a minute, right? And they're not doing it the way I thought they were going to do it. Brent Rooker's off to a horrible start. Jacob Wilson's hurt. He hasn't been playing well. Did I do it?
You had a wild card team. Last wild card team.
Let's go. So I do know ball. I don't know any ball when it comes to the AL East, apparently, but this one I do. But Nick Kurtz has 5 home runs so far. They are doing it on the strength of Carlos Cortez, who is a switch thrower. In the field, he plays infield right-handed, he plays outfield left-handed. And then they're doing it with Shea Langoliers, who has 11 home runs. He has a 176 WRC plus. He's playing some of the best catcher defense in baseball, and he's one of the most valuable players in baseball right now. And he's not a diamond apparently on MLB The Show. It's a whole thing. So I believe in that group because I believed in them before. They're gonna need some help, and the division is helping right now. Right, the Mariners are playing terrible baseball. The Astros have been bad. The Rangers have been mediocre. The A's need the help. They need to score some more runs. Need Brent Rooker to get going, and Soderstrom to get going, and Wilson to get back from injury. But once you get this group together, I think they'll be good.
I want to highlight one guy too that you didn't mention. Zach Geloff has spent the last 2 years completely injured, performing terribly at the plate. Last year, he only put up 100 plate appearances on the entire season. He's been really good. He's put up 69 plate appearances, 24 games, so he hasn't played every game. But he's got a 123 WRC plus and 0.5 WAR. This is a guy back in 2023. We were kind of like he had a breakout. He put up 2.7 WAR, a 132 WRC plus, hit 14 homers in only 69 games, 14 stolen bases in only 69 games. He was really good in 2023, and then the injuries and just underperformance have taken a toll on him. And this year he seems to be back to what he was as a rookie, which is really cool to see too. So hopefully he can continue that.
He's playing a lot of center field at the moment, too, which is also pretty interesting. All right, jumping over to the National League East now. The Braves are 28-13. The Phillies 9 games back. Marlins 9 games back. Nationals also 9 games back. The Mets are 12.5 back. We've talked extensively about the Phillies and the Mets here. So Matt, obviously we're going to ask you about the Braves. 28-13. What steroids did they give the Atlanta Braves this year? The cheating Braves are back. And one of our favorite segments here, since we're going to talk about the NL East, and that team's on the bottom of the division. Why don't you go ahead and precede us with it?
Yeah, so I just want to highlight this, and Damian, cover your ears. Cover your ears for a minute.
I set you up. And you didn't do it.
I'm gonna lull Mets in here in a minute. I do want to highlight. I want to say lull Dodgers because the Atlanta Braves have a larger division lead right now than the Dodgers are ahead of the Rockies. And the Dodgers haven't been bad either. They've been good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a.
It's insane.
It's like Dodgers. Tough schedule.
There's a lot of things you could do with the Lowell Dodgers, and that ain't one of them.
But we can lull Mets. They have an 81 WRC plus as a team this year, which means they're a 20% below league average on offense, which is crazy. The Braves have been great. I think in our preseason predictions, I kind of said, look, I'm gonna believe in these players because they've been so good. They've got such a good track record. They've spent had a lot of injuries the last couple of years. Everyone got really down on the Braves because of the pitching injuries, and they didn't sign anybody. And that told me one of two things. Number one, maybe they're not. Maybe they don't have the money, but it also told me like maybe they feel like they fixed some guys. And Bryce Elder has been one of the best pitchers in baseball. I mean, just every game he's going out there throwing 5, 6, 7 innings of just shutting teams down. He's got like a sub 2 ERA through the first month and a half of the season. Chris Sell's been Chris Sell, but the two guys I want to highlight on the Braves right now that it was kind of one of those things where last year, these are the two guys that really struggled, and these are guys that you expect to be really good. It's Ozzie Albies and Michael Harris. Yeah. They were really bad last year, both of them. Most of the season, I think Ozzie got a little bit better in the second half, showed some signs of life. But, man, those two guys playing the way that they have so far has been a godsend for the Braves. And, that going on top of Drake Baldwin showing that his rookie year was not a fluke. He's here to stay, and he's been one of the best players in all of baseball this year. And then Matt Olson just going God mode so far this year. This team's been awesome, and they're not even healthy either. I mean, Ha-Seong Kim is going to make his season debut tomorrow. Yeah. He just got pulled off the injured list. Spencer Strider's made 2 starts. His start on Saturday was incredible. It was the best he's looked in a game since pre-Tommy John, better than any game he pitched in last year. And then you also have the Ronald Acuna Jr. is out right now. He's supposed to come back in the next week, which is really good news. He's out. The pitching staff, Spencer Schwellenbach hasn't come back yet. So I think at the end of the day, this Braves pitching staff too I think that's been a little bit of smoke and mirrors. I think Bryce Elder has been incredible. He's not going to do this all year. No. And Chris Sell probably will do this all year. But, Spencer Strider, we'll see. But, Spencer Schwellenbach is out there, and he's going to pitch at some point this year. He didn't have Tommy John. He'll be back. Same for Hurston Waldrop. He'll be back later in the season. He showed a lot of promise last year. This team has been incredible so far. I can't wait to see how they continue to perform this year. And I mean, they went to LA and took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. And they really just punked the Dodgers over the weekend too. And that was a really big sign because that was the first time they've really played a team that's performing well this year.
Wow.
I was really excited about that. So.
They've been pretty bad recently. That team has.
Maybe, but I mean, the Dodgers are the Dodgers. They're in first place for a reason.
They had 24 wins, David. Yeah, they've still been playing good ball.
Good baseball.
Trust me, that team has not been playing good ball. The results have been
winning games
there, but regardless, I think our big thing we're talking about the Braves initially was like we were very worried about the pitching depth, right? That was the big thing, and they've kind of shown everything that's been okay, right? Like Bryce Elder, the last 2 years has been terrible, right? Spencer Strider, we didn't know what he was going to look like coming off of injury. We knew Schwellenbach was out. Like Grant Holmes has his moments, but he's kind of just giving you what we expect from Grant Holmes, which is like a 4 ERA, right? J.R. Ritchie's been pretty decent in his innings so far. Like it's just we were very worried about that depth. But also shout out to Dom Smith.
Yeah.
146 WRC plus so far this year. He's just having one of those runs again. The Braves are doing it right with him. So that was another one where we wanted to.
You didn't even mention Matt Olson either, and he's been amazing.
Yeah,
But, I mean,
I mentioned him being God tier.
Yeah.
Hey, one last guy. Shout out Jorge Mateo, man. 126 WRC plus, 0.5 WAR, and only 58 plate appearances. I mean, this guy's been really good so far. He's not going to keep it up. He's got a 33% strikeout rate, but still, we had to mention it.
Yeah. Speaking of Hank, go check out Batflip Breaks. They got a new break up listed at the moment. I think it's supposed to break on Thursday night, so go check out their accounts over there. And while we're in a little break right here at the moment, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on this one. Let us know what you think, what your thoughts on the standings have been so far. And then on Wednesday, we have another episode for the midweek, so be able to check that out. But back to the standings review. NL Central, Chicago Cubs are 27-14. The Milwaukee Brewers 3.5 back, along with the St. Louis Cardinals 3.5 back. The Pittsburgh Pirates 5 back, and the Reds are also 5 back. David, this is obviously the Cubs division. every team in this division is over 500 at the moment. I don't. We try to break it down to like one team here that we wanted to highlight, but like this division as a total is kind of hard to really do that because the Reds started really hot. Now they're the bottom team in the division. Cubs have had 2 10-game winning streaks. Makes them the top. But so what is there to talk about like per single team in this division really?
I'll try to touch on several of them because there's a few different points that I want to mention. The Cubs, you mentioned the 2 10-game winning streaks is actually insane. I want to give a special shout out, of course, to what it was before yesterday. The Cubs had 12 players that had taken at least 6 plate appearances. They had 1 player that was below league average. Now, they faced Jacob deGrom yesterday. They had a couple 0 for 4s. A couple guys went down to 97. But it was Alex Bregman was the only guy on the team that was below league average that had taken more than 5 plate appearances. And it's his fault that one of those guys, Michael Conforto, has been one of the best players in baseball with a minimum of 50 plate appearances this season. He has a 215 WRC plus so far. The offense has been unbelievable. The pitching is dead. Everyone's dead, but it doesn't matter because the offense has been playing so well. They, of course, ran into Jacob deGrom. You have that, right? I think this team, we're going to see a huge battle between the last 2 division winners this week. Braves and Cubs start tomorrow in Atlanta. It's going to be a huge series, playoff feel probably, and it'll be fun. The rest of this division is really good, man. The Brewers have a better run differential than the Cubs right now, which is saying something because that team is a team we've maligned for their moves, and then they come back around and it's like, well, actually, they're geniuses every time. It's a lot like the Rays. Bryce Terang has been off to an insane start. Jacob Mizorowski kind of looks unhittable. Hoping that I'm hoping that slows down teams start to get used to him and start hitting him because it's looking like they have their own Jacob deGrom up there in Milwaukee right now. The Pirates have been really, really good too. The Pirates took 2 or 3 from the Cubs early in the season. I mean, that's a team with Paul Skeens, with Ashcraft, with Bubba Chandler. I mean, the pitching staff for the Pirates, if they can stay healthy, that's a team that should make the playoffs, basically, right? And you look at the competition right now in the NL. I mean, it looks like there's going to be 2 or 3 wildcard teams in this division, right? And the Reds are still a decent team. Ellie De La Cruz is off to an insane start. I've foregone the Cardinals, and I'll try to finish with the Cardinals. A point on the Cardinals. JJ Weatherhold is outperforming Kevin McGonigal right now via F4. Jordan Walker's been a top 10 player in baseball so far. The Cardinals have been I have been as wrong about the Cardinals this season as I was about the Braves. And I couldn't have been more wrong about the Braves. Put them in 4th. They're winning the division by 9 games in May 11th. The Cardinals, I've been nearly as wrong. Their turnaround, their resurgence has been covered up by the Cubs. I don't think that one will stay. I think the Cardinals and Reds fall off, and the Brewers, Pirates, and Cubs go soaring to the end of the season here because those are 3 extremely talented teams. I meant to mention Brandon Lau. The Pirates traded for Brandon Lau. They finally went out and did something, get the offense better. Lau's been unreal, has 10 homers already. Not surprising, right? Pull somebody else into the team, right? We've been saying it all along. If Nutting just spends some money, gets an offensive player in there, the Pirates might be a good team. Lo and behold, Brandon Lau's there, and they're a pretty good team. NL Central is alarmingly annoying because the Cubs have 2 10-game winning streaks. The 2016 World Series team did not win 10 games twice. They only won 11 games once. And they're still only 3 games up because the division is so dang good right now. So I am alarmed, but I think it's going to prove for some very good summer baseball here in the NL Central.
Yeah, a couple comments on it. It doesn't help the Cubs to keep a huge lead when they haven't scored in 20 innings.
Jacob deGrom.
He didn't pitch 20 innings.
He pitched 7 of them.
Yeah. I don't know who pitched Saturday, but the Cubs.
It was Jack Leiter, and they got BABIP'd out of
Gotcha.
4 runs.
Yeah, the Cubs are really good. I'm just messing with you. But I want to mention the Cardinals. I think it's a little bit like the White Sox, where they're outperforming, but this is like a terrifying sign for everyone else in the future because they have so much coming.
Mm-hmm.
And some of their young guys are already showing it in the big leagues. They're going to fall off. They're not going to keep this up all year, but this is a team to watch out for in the next couple of years. The Devil Magic is back. And the last comment I have on it is the Brewers. Jacob Mizorowski had one of the craziest fastball starts ever the other day. He started like averaging like 103 in the first 2 innings on his fastball, which is absolutely bonkers. And I'm praying that his arm doesn't explode because this guy is so fun to watch. And I'm sorry, David, that you have to face him a lot, but it's crazy to watch it. And also, I guess one more thing: the Pirates have a 58% playoff odds on Fangraphs right now, which is pretty cool for them, and hopefully they can keep that up. But.
Yeah, I wanted to just mention, real quick, speaking on the Pirates, since the off day on April 20th for Connor Griffin, he has a 130 WRC plus since then.
Yeah,
he's figured it out.
You
gave him a week and a half in the major leagues a little bit, give him an off day to kind of breathe. That was a team off day, obviously, but really figured it out from there. And if you even take it to the 24th, because the 21st, 22nd, 23rd weren't good, it's been a 171 WRC plus since April 24th. So definitely fun there. All right, over to the National League West now. Padres and Dodgers both tied at 24 and 16, top the division. Arizona's 4.5 back. San Francisco's 8 back. The Rockies are 8.5 back. Matt, this is just going to be the same thing we've seen for the last couple of years, the run to the finish line between the Dodgers and Padres?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's I think the Dodgers are pretty clearly a better team than the Padres. But I think that the Dodgers have a lot of players that are either veterans or guys that they try to give a lot of rest to. This isn't a team that's usually healthy all year, and they know that they're going to make the playoffs, and they can just kind of keep guys ready for the playoffs. That's what they've done the last 2 years. That's what they've done so far this year. So I definitely think that they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna run away with this thing. The Padres. I think the Padres are overperforming a little bit right now, but I mean, they seem to always do this, right? Like over the last several years, other than that 1 year where they were like 20 games under 500 in 1-run games or something crazy. Like they've done this every year where they seem to find a way to put up a good record. And despite maybe the projections aren't great on them and stuff. So, they're a good team. I don't think anybody else is going to challenge this. The Diamondbacks have a chance to, maybe they've got enough star power there with Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll and, some of their pitching that will come back at some point, like a Corbin Burns. Like Michael Soroka's been great, by the way. But that's a team to kind of look out for a little bit too. But Dodgers and Padres will run away with this, and I think the Dodgers will win it. But the Padres have a chance to stick around for a while.
Yeah, I think the scary part about the Padres itself is that, first off, Fernando Tatis Jr. still hasn't hit a homer this season. Crazy. We're in May 11th. But looking at the guys you expect to be offensive firepower for the Padres, Fernando Tatis, 79 WRC plus, Manny Machado, 86 WRC plus, Jackson Merrill, 90 WRC plus, Gavin Sheets, 95 WRC plus. Those are the main guys you expect to do damage for them, and they haven't done anything. That doesn't even mention Jake Cronenworth at 47 WRC plus.
Yeah, like
it's just this team has had no offense basically to begin the season from their main guys, and they're still up here. So that makes it a little bit like, hey, you think they could have some positive regression. Coming for them. So,
by the way, shout out to Xander Bogaerts, who's been really good so far. And also, I don't know if we've ever seen a reliever as dominant as Mason Miller has been through his first 18 appearances. The guy has a 56% strikeout rate, and he has literally broken the metrics. He has broken FIP. He has a minus 0.15 FIP on the season.
Yeah. The real ones know. There's other relievers who've had a negative FIP pretty far into the season, but we're approaching the time where
Mason Miller is awesome.
We're approaching the time where that usually stops.
This is insanity with Mason Miller, and I'm telling you, like, I don't think there's really a runaway leader in the clubhouse and for the National League Cy Young right now. I mean, Christopher Sanchez has been really good, but like I mean, who's to say that Mason Miller can't contend for that? I mean, if he puts up 4 WAR as a reliever, like he's a quarter way through the season, he's already over 1. If he puts up 4 WAR as a reliever, like give him the Cy Young. I don't care.
It would require a lot of saves. I think you'd have to have the saves record. What's the saves? 70, 68?
67 maybe?
67, 68.
Something like that.
If he picked up 70 saves, I could see it. I just don't think you're going to do that in today's
Probably
game.
not.
Even as dominant as he is, unless he starts throwing 2 to 3 innings and gets up to like 100 innings pitched this year, which he won't. They will not do that.
They won't do that.
So, I would love to see it. Don't get me wrong, right? Try to, get the most dominant pitcher more innings, but it's not going to happen. He's just going to get 40-something saves and ruin reliever of the year or whatever.
Yeah. And because Adam's happy. There we go, Adam. It's the second time you said it, so we'll give you the time for it. All right, let's jump to week in review. Let's start with one that kind of was shocking out of nowhere, but like at the same time, you can kind of see the writing on the wall, and that is the Giants trade Patrick Bailey to the Cleveland Guardians for pick number 29 in the upcoming draft and prospect Matt Tugboat Wilkinson. So Patrick Bailey when he got traded, had a 16 WRC plus so far on the season, but is one of, if not the best defensive catcher in a long time that we've seen. So, I mean, it's interesting, right? The Guardians love their Austin Hedges types. They get Patrick Bailey, which would be great for that. But you could clearly tell that Buster Posey was kind of fed up with this. If anyone knows what a good catcher is and what it should look like, it's Buster Posey. So, David, what did you think when you saw this trade initially happen?
For number 29, that's what got me, right? I was perfectly fine with the Giants maybe trying to kickstart or call it a rebuild, maybe just a fire. All of a sudden, there's these reports out that the Giants are trying to offload the long contracts, but whenever they got signed, we were like, these are or traded for. It was like these contracts are not going to be easy to move for the Giants. You're going to have to try to make it work. And Bailey was, in my opinion, right. I think the name he's getting compared to right now is like Austin Hedges, who the Guardians already have. So they just have Austin Hedges, and Austin Hedges is 2.0, right? Bailey can't hit. He's a good defender, right? Buster was like, well, we want him to handle the pitching staff better. And I'm kind of like, I mean, that's sure the abstract, I suppose, right? But honestly, you got number 29, pick 29 in this draft for him, and a prospect, and the prospect's fine, but pick 29 that's where Ryan Waldschmidt went. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. That's where Slade Caldwell, or maybe it was Ike Irish, one of those two was picked 29 last year. Those guys are borderline top 100 prospects. That's a legitimately solid value piece in this trade. Speaking to, of course, Patrick Bailey's defensive prowess, but again, the guy has a 13 WRC plus. He cannot hit. He and I would do about the same going up there with a bat, right? So the whole thing. My whole thing here is I think Buster Posey did extremely well on this deal. My one issue, of course, is well, why? I thought you were sticking with this core, right? We thought you were trying to make this work, push through. Well, the results have amended this year. Are we suddenly changing course? That kind of thing is the wishy-washiness from the Giants, where they've been kind of this buy team to now they want to sell all of a sudden. That stuff is a little bit that I don't like that. It seems like they're a little directionless, right? Where's Buster Posey? What's he doing? Where's he going? To get this deal, I am very confused as to why the Guardians are paying pick number 29, which could be a borderline top 100 prospect for Patrick Bailey. That's ridiculous. He's not worth the top 100 prospect. He's not worth pick 29. So to me, the Giants did great.
Yeah,
he can't hit. Just come on, it's a good deal. But
the thing too for me is that it's not even the fact that you got picked 29 for the level of player you can get there. It's that you added over $3 million into your bonus pool money, and you have pick number 4 in the draft. There is a lot of things that you can do around that top half of the draft to try and force other teams to spend some extra money, right? Not saying the big thing was the Giants are going to get rock at 4. I don't think Rock's going to fall to 4, but like you could bet that the Giants call in Rock and tell him like, "Hey,
We'll give you 12.
we'll give you,
we got more than they do.
Yeah, slot's 11 at number 1. Like we'll give you a 13 or something, right? Like we'll give you an overslot at 1 to try and force that hand. So that's the bigger thing to me. Is not just a pick number. It's the added bonus pool money you got from that.
Yeah,
that's huge.
And I'll say too that the prospect that came back in this trade, he's one of these guys that's stats darling that maybe doesn't have the greatest scouting report, but this guy's been insanely good in the minor leagues. I mean, he's been really good. Last year, so far this year in 6 starts, he's got a 1.59 ERA, 11 strikeouts per 9 in Double-A. I don't know if he'll end up being anything, but I mean, he's a good dart throw.
The Guardians fan I talked to, Giant Thomas, he said he liked Wilkinson. He was very confused by this deal because the Guardians have been very cognizant of holding on to their pitching prospects, especially. And it's like, what, you're trading a pitching prospect and pick 29 when you're an organization that needs to develop pitchers and players. It's a very questionable decision from the Guardians side.
Yeah.
But
the Guardians have to see something in Patrick Bailey that they can fix. Like that's the only explanation here. Well, and it's still bad value.
Yeah, that like if they could turn his bat into remotely anything, but also this is the most Guardians thing ever. Like their thing is pitching and defense. Why not get the best like defensive catcher who's pretty good at game calling, right? Like the Giants this year went through game calling from the dugout rather than letting Bailey call a lot of it himself. Like, why not? If you're the Guardians, you know what I mean? Like, get the best there. And if you think you can do anything remotely close to his bat.
It feels like the Giants have a little bit of dysfunction when it comes to that pitching group, the development group, where if Bailey's regarded well as a pitch caller, why is he getting that role stripped from him? That's a lot of that's an organizational problem to me. Let's just see how Bailey goes. But yeah, on the surface, I like how the Giants made out in this deal, but
all right, let's jump to talking about the Atlanta Braves, and they lost 2 vital members to their history this past week. First was Ted Turner, their old owner, obviously the creator of CNN and Turner Sports and stuff like that. And then followed up by, was it Saturday, I believe, Friday night or Saturday, announcing that legendary manager Bobby Cox had passed away, who spent 25 seasons managing for the Braves, which I didn't know until watching some baseball this weekend. He was the manager for the first Toronto Blue Jays playoff team ever. So that's a pretty cool thing to learn. But obviously, Matt, you are a resident Braves fan here. What do these guys mean to the Braves, and how big of a loss is it for the world?
Yeah, well, Ted Turner means just about everything to the Braves. I mean, the Braves moved to Atlanta in 1966, and they were pretty bad for a long time. Ted Turner bought the team in 1976, and from putting him on the superstation, that's what built this Braves franchise. That's why the Braves have a national fan base. People could watch them in any parts of the country. The entire Southeast that doesn't have a baseball team became Braves fans because of the superstation. And Ted Turner spent, he was a great owner, he had high payrolls. I think the Braves during the parts of the 90s had the highest payroll in baseball, close to the Yankees. The Yankees surpassed them pretty quickly, but the Braves since the late 80s and the early 90s have been one of the gold standards of franchises across baseball, and a lot of that's due to the efforts of Ted Turner, and which is really cool. And I hated to see that news this week. And then Bobby Cox is really, I mean, this he's one of the most fun managers in the history of baseball. Still holds the record, and probably will forever hold the record because of the new rules of all-time ejections. It was just always fun. You almost rooted for a bad call. As a Braves fan, you almost rooted for a call to go against the Braves just so you could see Bobby Cox come waddling out of the dugout and start yelling at the umpire and get thrown out. And this guy absolutely loved to get thrown out of games, I love that. And baseball is special for that. But he was also just a great players manager, won a ton of games. I think I should have looked up the stat before the show. I believe he's in the top 5 of all-time winningest managers in baseball.
Yeah, he's up there. Yep.
So
you look it up. I'll go real quick. I lived in Georgia for
number 4.
Yeah, I lived in Georgia for the first 18 years of my life. Can confirm the whole Southeast has only access really to, the channels, the Turner channels that the Braves play on, and then for a while it was WGN, right? So that's how I became a Cubs fan. But
Yep.
I went to Turner Field a lot, which is obviously named for Ted Turner, and it's now the Georgia State Field, but was built as part of the Olympics in 1996, and I mean, I'm certain none of that's happening without Ted Turner.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Cox was the Braves manager for my childhood, so I have equal memories of watching Bobby Cox run out there and get ejected. So it's a tough one for sure from even a fan of the other teams, but it's a group that I've known very well in my baseball fandom, and it stinks.
Yeah. My favorite thing of finding out about more history as you learn when these things happen is the 1977 Ted Turner managerial story, where they were on a 16-game losing streak, and Turner sent the manager on a 10-day scouting trip and decided he was going to take over as interim manager himself. He ran the team for one game, which was a loss to the Pirates, before the National League president told him, you can't do that. It's against major league rules, and which bars managers and players from owning stock in their own club, or from managing that from their own clubs. Turner appealed it, said, I'm going to show up to manage the team when they return home, and then got there, and they said that his appeal was denied. So he has only ever managed one game, and it was a loss against the Pirates, and that was his only thing there. I thought that story was hilariously funny.
Steve Cohen, don't get any ideas.
Yeah. You could see it happen, let me tell you. But that was some funny stories that you get to, in light of everything. And obviously the Braves played the Dodgers this week, and that was a big thing with Freddie Freeman, right? He still talked about how Bobby Cox would hang out with him and call him like at least once a month in the off season. Like Bobby would come over and they would hang out with him, Bobby and his wife and the kids, and Bobby would talk about how he loved Charlie and all that stuff. So he's just a great person and a big loss for the game.
I believe Freddie Freeman is one of 2 active players that played for Bobby Cox, because he retired in 2010. I think Freddie played just a few games at the end of 2010, and the other is Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's jump to the batch of debuts that we had happen this week, and then we'll run through the injuries. Robby Snelling got called up by the Miami Marlins this week. He was part of the return for Luis Arias, I want to say.
No, he was Tanner Scott.
Tanner Scott. They do so many of those trades. Who knows, man? But Snelling had worked his way up to a top 100 prospect this year. Was really a big riser this offseason. Had performed really well in the minor league so far this year. In his 29 innings, had a 1.86 ERA. Came up, didn't look his best, but it's a big time name. The Marlins are known for having very good pitching prospects throughout their time. So I would not be shocked to see Robby Snelling continue to rise up the ranks here.
Yeah, I was at that game last Sunday, and Chris Paddock was pitching, and I said, "Yep, there's going to be a new call up this week." And sure enough.
Yeah. All right, now the New York Yankees called up their top prospect. I want to say people think he's top prospect, but Spencer Jones,
big name.
Yeah, big name, but he is a guy that I am very there's a lot of hype around prospect circles like that he could be a guy, but the guy whiffs a ton here. But
Matt likes to say how like Murakami's whiffs are. Spencer Jones is another level, man.
Well, it's going to be worse. Yeah.
Yeah. But he has big time power. If he's ever able to kind of figure out the whiffs there, he'll be pretty good. But I don't know a ton, but I probably think you should change your stance if you're that big and you're looking directly open face at the pitcher.
One of my oldest head takes. I have a couple old head takes. One of my oldest head takes. You have a stance like that. I automatically don't think you're going to be very successful. He's going to be fine. Probably he'll probably be a high whiff guy, but I don't like his stance at all. His swing is so ugly.
Yeah. For reference, if you don't know what Spencer Jones's stance is, just imagine Aaron Judge, but looking like Ozzy Albies.
The guy he reminds me of in both regards, both stance and ability, is Aristides Aquino from the Reds. He had that open stance, he had an open foot, and then he whiffed so much. Whenever he made contact, it went 500 feet. So
Jones is so crouched down though. Aristides was that straight up and open.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Jones is really crouched. It's very weird.
Uglier Aristides Aquino. Yeah.
And I'll say about Spencer Jones, a lot of Yankees fans have had a crush on this guy because of the similarities to Aaron Judge and just his size, his stature, his raw power. Aaron Judge is an exception to the rule of how this guy typically turns out. Aaron Judge is one of the greatest players to play the game of baseball ever. And Spencer Jones is the normal player, I think, for that is like this. So it's rare to see a guy like Aaron Judge, who, by the way, now has a 182 WRC plus again, and is on pace to hit 65 homers again. So
Aaron Judge, who has a very beautiful stance for what it's worth.
He does. I'm just saying, that's why Yankees fans have been so high on this guy. It's
Now they're comparing him to be a white Shohei Ohtani, apparently, if you've seen that with Spencer Jones.
Can he throw? Can he pitch?
No.
That'd be better for him.
And by the way, he looks and the mannerisms, they're if you just made Shohei look white, he would look like Spencer Jones. And I'm like, okay. Apparently.
No.
No. Last one, Ryan Waldschmidt was called up by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Per Fangraphs, he was the 35th overall ranked prospect, number 1 for the organization. And the big thing here is they DFA'd Alek Thomas, who was a good prospect for them at times. Thomas apparently has a ton of interest around. We'll probably see him get traded here this week. But Waldschmidt has immediately came in and made an impact in his 3 games. He has a 146 WRC plus already. He's going to be a big-time power hitter for this team moving forward. He's going to be a guy that I'm kind of scared facing in the division every year. Just seems like a guy that's going to crush LA.
This is why you folks need to subscribe to the Batflip podcast, because 2 years ago we were sitting here talking to Greg Zumack, and we were talking about Kentucky in the College World Series, and he said, I like this guy Ryan Waldschmidt on Kentucky, and here he is making his major league debut. He's a really good potential hitter. I think he's more Ian Happ-ish than he is power hitter. I think he's going to be like a 20 homer, high walk, really annoying guy.
I think he's got 30 homer-ish upside.
Yeah, that's about right. Ian's never quite gotten all to the power there, but the power is in there. That's kind of how Waldschmidt feels. Very going to control the zone, going to put together a good plate appearance every game, and right-handed Ian Happ, maybe a little more power than that, I think, is kind of the best comp. But I really like Ryan Waldschmidt. I think he'll be really good.
He's going to turn into Christian Walker against the Dodgers. I just know it. All right, let's jump to the injuries, and we'll kind of breeze through these real quick. Actually, the Dodgers were in Houston when this one happened. Carlos Correa ended up needing season-ending surgery on his ankle. Basically, just during batting practice, took a swing, and his ankle went pop and needed season-ending surgery. Now, a lot of people were speculating, we'll see the Mets and the Giants were right to fail his physical. This was the other ankle. This was not the ankle that everyone had a problem with. But he did need season-ending surgery on that ankle. So that's another big blow to the Astros, who are already at the bottom of their division, and is playing Braves legend Braden Shoemake at shortstop. And he homered off Shohei Ohtani this week. So
that might be the shocking thing to ever happen in the history of baseball, other than Bartolo Colon hitting a home run.
It was a Crawford box shot, so I don't know how much we can count it, but hey, either way. Joe Ryan, we mentioned you last week that he had pulled out of his start after 9 pitches on Sunday. His MRI revealed no structural damage there. Still going to be shut down for a little bit, but doesn't seem like surgery is an immediate thing right away. Tyler Glasnow ended up leaving his start early in Houston after 1 inning. Back injury, being 6'10", he deals with this back injury every single year, basically. They said he probably could have pitched through it, but Blake Snell was just about to return from the IL anyways. He was 1 rehab start away. They just basically pulled him off rehab early, let him start there, put Glasnow to the IL. It's not a good start for Blake. We'll just say that. Matt knows. But also today, Mookie Betts returns from his oblique injury. So be good there. Yusei Kikuchi will be shut down for 3 to 4 weeks due to shoulder inflammation. This one's been very, very weird through the Angels side of this. I would not be shocked if this turns into a bigger deal. The way they've played very coy about this. He was injured for a couple weeks before we got this diagnosis. Okay. Emilio Pagan looked like he blew out his hamstring. Seems like it was only a grade 1, I think they said. Wasn't too bad, and that he could be back in a month or so.
I thought it looked worse.
Yeah, I thought he was done for the year.
Yeah, he landed walkward and fell down, had to get carted off the field. Good that it's only a grade 1.
Roman Anthony went to the IL. We mentioned that last week. We thought it was a oblique. We speculated that it was actually a sprained wrist, which is not as bad as an oblique, but those things can linger if you don't let them heal up properly. So
I'm guessing that was hurting him for a good part of this season too.
Yeah. Cole Ragans went to the IL with a left elbow impingement. This is a guy who is just coming back from surgery. And you hate to see these pitching arm injuries happen again to another guy. Matthew Boyd, who we just talked about coming back from the IL not too long ago, decided that when he was going to play with his kids and sit down, he was going to tear his meniscus.
We don't know if it was a torn meniscus. It was meniscus injury.
Well, it says 4 to 8 weeks. Kind of gives you a torn meniscus.
Probably a torn meniscus.
Probably.
But we didn't. That's all we know is meniscus injury.
And that's one of those weird freak injuries you expect to happen in spring training. Guy comes in best shape of his life and then sits down with his kids and hurts his knee. Like, that's one of those stories. So it happened in the middle of the season.
That was the Chris Selliest of Chris Sell injuries ever happened.
Yeah.
That's 4 consecutive injuries on my fantasy team, by the way, just in case you were keeping track. 4 in a row right there. This is chronological.
Well, if we want to just add on to the Pelicans real quick, Nathan Eovaldi was scratched today, left side tightness. So there's that one. Just to add on to that,
everyone's dead.
Taj Bradley, who had been pitching pretty well so far to start this year, he had a right pec inflammation. Went to the IL as well. Logan Webb, right knee bursitis. This is probably one that's been dealing with him for a while. He has not looked right so far this year. You kind of figured something was going on. We have a little bit more of a thing there.
Bursitis sucks. I had it when I was playing football in high school. So no good.
Kerry Carpenter went to the IL with an AC joint sprain. Gage Workman was called up for him, hit his home run.
First career homer for Gage Workman.
Yep. Former D West favorite.
No.
Yeah. I can't confirm. Can't confirm he's a D West favorite.
He'll be great as a DH. How about that? For Kerry Carpenter.
Then last but not least at the moment, Jacob Wilson has a shoulder sprain. We were just talking about that with the A's a little bit, but they need to get him back. He's going to be very vital there. So it's kind of a little bit of a run through everywhere there. Real quick, player of the week votes.
I did not look before. I'm pulling it up now. What do you guys have? Last 7 days. Looks a lot like the regular old leaderboard.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt, Andy Pies, Bryce Harper. Those are the guys who've been performing really well this season anyway. What about the pitchers?
Yeah, Christopher Sanchez, 15 innings, 0 earned runs this week.
I think that it's him or Davis Martin, or maybe even DeGrom. Those would be the 3.
No, not DeGrom.
So DeGrom is a 4.05 ERA. The flip is better. Yeah, it's Sanchez or Martin, but Davis Martin gave up a run, and Christopher Sanchez didn't. So to me, it'd be Christopher Sanchez.
Christopher Sanchez, it is. So thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of the Bat Flip Podcast. Like I mentioned, we are doing a draft video for Wednesday. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys go check that out. And and enjoy it. Drop a like on that. Subscribe to the channel. Just help us out here. Push us out to the algorithm and help us get some more support here. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys back next week.